Hey gamers, if you're looking for a portable puzzle about collecting cactuses, then you want to check out Verdant, Arizona. Let's take a look at how this game plays. In this game, players are going to be moving the truck around and collecting cactuses for their own individual grid. On a player's turn, they are going to move the truck up to 2 spaces, then collect a cactus and display it in their grid. So maybe on my turn, I want to move here, and orientation of that truck does matter. So if it was facing this way, I could not have moved there with 2 moves, but I could have turned it around first and then moved there. So on a turn, like I could go here is 1 move, turning is 1 move, or like I said, turning around completely is a move. So I would put this one into my grid. Your grid can start anywhere, but it is limited to a 4x4. And when you play a card, it does have to sit adjacent on the edge to another card. And then I would refill the board by placing a card from the top of the deck face down into the spot that I took from. And players will alternate back and forth. If at the start of a player's turn they cannot reach a spot in the grid by exactly 2 moves, like so, then they would instead, before they take their turn, refill the grid. When you're refilling the grid, you'll put Ren tokens out on cards that are already face up, and then flip everything else back face up in the grid before taking your turn. And you'll put Ren tokens out as well on any of the spots with their symbol. So you would collect those when you are taking those cards. At the end of the game, players will take a look at their grid and score. So they will get 1 point for every row and column in ascending or descending order. So for example, 1, 3, 6, 9, I would get a point for that row, and so on for the entire grid, rows, and columns. Then they would look and see for every gecko in a row or column that is in ascending or descending order, they'll get a point. So 11, 20, 33, 36 would get me a point for that gecko, but then I wouldn't get 1 here because 1, 15, and then 11 means that those are not in order. You'll get 2 points for every quadrant where all 4 cards are the same color. So I'd get 1 here for all these reds and 1 here for all these yellows. So that's 4 points. And then if you use the advanced scoring, you'll also get a point for every row and column of a single color. So I have all yellows here and all reds here. So I get some points for those as well. Players will both add up their scores for their grid, and then whoever has the most points wins, with the player with the most Ren tokens breaking any ties. Overall, I thought this was a pretty solid puzzle game. I like how the interaction works between the players, moving the truck around, and kind of blocking off walls as much as you can to maybe leave things there that you want to put in your own grid, or maybe just block a player out of getting something that you know that they want for a certain turn. I kind of like how the refilling the board works, and you can use that strategically. In one game, I made sure that I made it so that the other player had to refill it on their turn because they couldn't get to a spot, and that meant that I wasn't going to get stuck with something I knew I didn't want. Because if you can move, you have to move. So I didn't want to block myself into a corner where I didn't have a choice. So you can really strategically move that truck around, which I think works out pretty well. The Rens are interesting too, although I think that it's really easy for players to just kind of stockpile them, grab them up really quick, save until the end of the game, and then make a couple of swaps or whatever they need to do, or spend a bunch to move a little bit extra to get a card that they are sure that they want for their grid. So I thought that was an interesting mechanic, but probably also could have done without it. Overall, I do really like how scoring works. I do think that, again, making your grid is a puzzle in and of itself, and I think that with so many different opportunities for scoring, you can really try and focus on one, or try and do a little bit of everything. Maybe make a quadrant up here, have the top 2 rows that are ascending or something like that, or just have all of the same color in a row to get that scoring. And then of course paying attention to like getting cards with the geckos on them in order to get a little bit of extra scoring as well, if you know that you're going to be doing the ascending and descending scoring as well. So I do like the different opportunities for scoring. I do think overall, again, it's a good puzzle. It works pretty well. I will say after a couple of plays, I think it does start to feel a little bit samey play to play, but if you like something that you kind of are super familiar with and can get familiarized with very quickly, then that's great, and you can kind of take it anywhere because it fits in your pocket. But if you like a small box game with a little bit of a puzzle nature, this might be for you, but you can check out my full thoughts on watch today to decide if you want to pick this one up.